Aloha, everybody, and welcome back to Tales from the Merworld Radio, where we explore the ancient lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. I am so excited about today's show, but before we get into that, I just want to open my heart, open the space, and send every single one of you out there just so much Kauai love and so much aloha. And, all of us right now are really trying to come to terms with what it is we really believe, how we really feel, how we want to show up in the world, and really just trying to get up every day. I know for me, really just trying to get up every day and ask how I can be the most aligned with spirit and with the highest service possible and bring the highest love quotient and frequency out into the planet at a time where that's really what this planet needs, is just waves and waves and waves of love and understanding and compassion. And I hope that in this process, you are extending lots and lots of compassion towards yourself. We tend to be hardest and maybe most judgmental on our own selves in really traumatic or critical situations. It's really okay. I'm kind of going some days hour by hour, or even day by day or hour by hour, trying to figure out, how I feel, what my body needs, what my spirit needs, and then what kind of a voice, if I choose to have that voice, that I want to come up with out in the world to try to be some kind of presence of healing. If you are a follower of this show, you know that my passion is exploring ancient lands, Atlantis, Lemuria, the Mer people, and really looking into these ancient civilizations that are really more than just mythological. They're found in ancient textbooks, they're mentioned in theology, they're mentioned in ancient history, and really looking into like what really are these truths, that are out there that aren't necessarily written in our history books, but they're written in our collective history. This is June, the month of June 2020, and it happens to be International Children's Month. And so I thought it would be very special to bring forward, one of the really wonderful things about being a hostess of this show is I get to provide a platform to interview some really wonderful people. Some people who are really doing something specifically to co-create the new earth out there. And so when I discovered it was June and International Children's Month, and I actually remembered that through the woman who we are going to be speaking, the divine spirit who's going to be speaking with us today, my very dear friend, Heidi Little. And before I get into her bio, I just want to preface this and say that, there are many people out in the world that are very selflessly doing things to make a difference and try to help. And when I think about all the people that I have come across who really, really work heart and soul day in and day out through their entire lives to do something better for this planet and make the world a better, safer place for children, really nobody to me is that story more than my friend Heidi. And I'm going to read you her bio. Use my speaker. It doesn't want to stay in this year. I'm going to switch it over. So it's a little lengthy, but it's really worth every single word. Heidi Little is an award-winning vocalist, songwriter, co-founder, director of International Children's Month and its yearly thematic activity platforms. As a master scholar in self-love embodiment practices, tools and techniques, and advancements in social emotional learning, author of the Child of the Heart series, radio personality for One Love Rising, owner of One Clothing Unify, and the founder of the Center for Advancement in Social Emotional Learning. Heidi's mission is No Child Left Behind, and she is here in support of all to empower and uplift, enlighten, and bring home to love, care, and respect as much of humanity as possible, while we collectively bring heaven to earth. It's time to celebrate International Children's Month. We rise together through children across the planet in love, care, and respect. Joining hearts for the 8th annual Global Wave of Love, June 21st at 1:11 p.m. in your hearts and in your time zone. Music, books, virtual workshops, and more at her website. And I'll let her get into that in a little while. I would really like you all, I would like to extend my very warmest welcome to a beloved being who is helping us to remember the innocence and the purity of what it is like to be a child out in this world. Please welcome my friend Heidi Little. Heidi, thank you so much for coming forward today and talking with us.
Ameera, thank you so much for everything. You're so beautiful. And I'm really happy to be here, and I'm very honored to be here. So thank you. That introduction just like, it gets me really excited because I can feel the momentum of the month and the movement. And where do you want me to start?
I guess we're gonna, I guess we'll start here. There was a time in our collective history where children were taught and were treated with love, care, and respect, where they learned things that were in alignment with what their soul and their spirit needed. And when I take a look around at kind of our educational systems and all these different systems that are placed that have kind of like stripped that away from all of us, even from us, our inner child. Let's talk about what was it about children and working with children? Why is that so important to you?
Well, I remember being born. And so there was no veil. So right out the gate, I came into this world going, I am so excited to be with everybody, and we're going to totally do this thing, and it's going to be so amazing. And God, give me all the energy that I need to make it through. And then out we go, and into a home daycare center with 27 other people's children.
Oh my goodness.
And so my beginnings were community filled with children. And it was very selfless. It was very, my mom was cooking and cleaning and wiping bums and snotty noses and kissing boo-boos, and there was every type of child you could imagine there, all colors. And no one thought about any of that stuff. That was not, I came here expecting everyone to know what I know, to be on the level already. I didn't realize there was going to have to be this process of this awakening thing that was happening. So I'm sitting in a position now going, oh, thank God, here it is, we're happening. So children have always been my playmate, and they have always been on the level, right? Unless they've been seriously damaged by somebody, they're on the level. They want to play, they are accepting of others, they enjoy just experiencing things with you and learning and growing, and they show you things and they teach you things, and we do the same thing in reciprocity. And it's not about who's going to see me, and it's not about, all the adult world things that we worry about. So they've just always been in my life and always been in my circle. And my career as a musician has always gone right along with being an educator. So I was a teen mother, and right out of high school, the government swooped me up and asked me to help build them a program for expected teenage mothers. So it was like right out the gate, like great pay, and just like, here, we'll book your gigs for you. You can go into all the different schools, you can talk to everybody, and we'll just take care of all of it. And you just design the content and off you go. So it was really just like, a river of what I was doing. Same with the music, just came through and I just did it, and it flowed.
Right.
So there's the beginnings.
That's the beginning.
Yeah.
So I'm still back on 27 children in the daycare.
In one daycare with no licensing like that, really. Back then she had one person who helped her here and there, but I was her go-to girl. I gave her a hand in pretty much every way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have, I want to call you the inventor or the creator. Maybe that's the right word. Social emotional learning.
Yeah.
What is that?
Well, when I was 17, it was an alternative school for pregnant teenagers. And I remember the difference the shocking, glaring difference between a regular high school setting and a setting that nurtured me as a mother with my baby. Their intent was to keep us together and strong. And so that was like, and I was in performing arts already, right? Which is really about unity and playing together and, theater games
Yes.
and understanding how other people could think, how they could be, right? And not in a judging way, just learning, observing. So I was always learning, always observing. And then with this gig with the government of Saskatchewan, I'm from Canada. That's where I was born and raised for 27 winters. Thank God I got out of the winter. But anyway, that's another story. So social emotional learning is taking care of each person in the way they need to be cared for, in the way they ask to be cared for, in the way their behavior shows us to care for them, in the way that keeps in mind, first and foremost, their beautiful heart, their beautiful spirit, and their beautiful bodies. Mind, body, spirit, the whole thing. Yeah. We put it all together and we go, for me, it was, how can I help them to unite? How can I help build bridges? How can I help facilitate a circle that's a heartbeat?
Yes. Oh.
And so that's where I started. Those were my first teachings. I would go into the high schools and they had me bridge it with their regular curriculum. So I would bridge theater with English. And I'd have them talking and walking and moving the parts of the Shakespeare so that they would never forget it. The foot would do a dance while the voice spoke a word, and in the mind was the image, and there was cemented the program, So it's like, that was my beginning. And there was no word for social emotional learning back then. That was just how I did it, And I didn't know any other teachers like me that were doing that, but that's okay. It was very exploratory. It was a beautiful beginning to a journey.
Right.
And so about, I guess, 4 years ago, I saw that they started to coin the term social emotional learning, and they were describing me. And they were certifying people like me. And I was like, they're certifying people like me? Why would I need their certification? Kind of thing. And that's when I launched my own degree through Goddard and got my master's and one-upped them on advancement in social emotional learning, because I got a toolbox. I'll tell you what, I got a nice big toolbox. So does that make sense?
Yeah, that's a really amazing story. It's obvious that you came to Earth with purpose.
Oh, yeah.
Like you knew what your purpose was.
Yeah.
From the moment you exited the womb,
Yeah.
and you have been enacting on that purpose for your entire life.
Yeah.
And that's pretty special and pretty rare. And I have Olivia take us to a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about International Children's Month. We're going to talk a little bit more about what people can do if they would like to get involved. And then also we're going to talk about the children and the learning of Lemuria. If you have memories, I'd love for you to share. I'm going to share some of my Atlantean Lemurian memories of the children there and what they were taught and how they were raised. So ladies and gentlemen, we will be back in just a few minutes. Thank you. Aloha and welcome back to Tales from the Merworld Radio. I am your host, Ameera Beth Healer, and today, if you're just joining us, you missed my brilliant introduction to one of the loveliest people on this planet, one of the people on this planet who are doing more for children and for the growth in the spirit and the healing and the transformation of children on this planet than anybody I've ever met. Heidi Little, who is the co-founder of International Children's Month. June happens to be International Children's Month. And before we jump into how maybe people can help out if they want to get involved, if they want to participate on the event you've got going on the 21st, Heidi, let's talk a little bit about what do you remember from Atlantis and Lemuria and the children there? What kind of memories come up for you?
Thank you. No one's ever asked me that question before you,
I
Miss
know you've got
Ameera.
answers. I know you do.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, I remember the protective field around that surrounded, and I guess in my subconscious or in somewhere, it's Atlantis. That protected field that was around the space in the first place. That was like the first um, that mothering feeling, that like protective force field of mothering feeling, like the inside of it was like the womb, right? So it's like it had this. So I remember being a part of that field, that protective field. And then the next part I remember is about literally whispering to the children as they come out to their ears, how divine and beautiful that they are. It tears me up every time I think about it and anytime I speak about it, because it's how we are supposed to be with all our children, right? Like the seeds were planted back then for a lifetime of divinity and self-love and self-empowerment. And that, is what I feel like every person deserves to know and own their birthright, right? That's our birthright.
Yes.
Divine, beautiful, powerful co-creators with spirit.
Correct.
And we are given free will to choose in alignment with our loving selves, right? That we are made of love, and love is who we are. And so I just remember whispering. And I know we've held hands in past lifetimes. I know we have. I remember how your hand feels in mine, actually. So
Awesome.
how about
Olivia,
you?
Olivia, I can hear a little bit of my feedback. Do I sound okay coming across?
Yeah, you sound good.
Okay. It just must be something funny on my end. What I remember the most is that children were always outdoors and exploring.
Mm-hmm.
And the arts and creativity
Mm-hmm.
and learning through their environment
Mm-hmm.
what was priority. I remember classroom time not being such a big deal or thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was the environment, and it was the
Mm-hmm.
discovery of their environment.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably remember this too as a child in this realm and in that realm, doodling, right? Making
Mm-hmm.
like little doodles in your spare time, making little shapes and things. Well, we were making sacred geometry.
Right, sure. Yeah,
As
sure.
children, we come in with a knowingness that spirals and circles and these shapes are healing and that they're important. And this might be a really good time also to bring up. Today I have my
Oh, yay.
my one shirt. One of the many hats that Heidi wears is she stewards a clothing company, a conscious clothing company called One Unify Clothing. And a year or two ago, we got together and we co-created a logo, and we
Yes.
co-created some shirts together with the
Yes.
Andara crystals and the ink, the one shirts.
Yes.
So we put this flower of life pattern together with her one logo, and screen printed them and sold them out into the world for a little while. And that it just reminds me again that how important sacred geometry is, and even the flower of life with all the different circles, all the different
Mm-hmm.
spheres that are independent,
Mm-hmm.
but they're together.
Mm-hmm.
They're
Yes.
interdependent.
And that's why it was easy for us to unite, because of oneness, right? And so while the children of Lemuria and Atlantis were learning outside things, they were also learning their inner guidance system.
Right.
And that, like our inner spirit, our inner world, that's the cultivation, right? That we're talking about here. It's like, how are we connected to spirit and source? How are we connected to our mothers and our fathers? How are we connected in our community, in our world? And we knew at one point that our words had power, and that the way we intention those words has power. And we craft our reality based on our thoughts connected with our actions and our power.
Yes.
So we need to teach the children this, because they can help us, right? And the beautiful thing is, the teenagers, like the preteens and the teenagers right now, today, they get unity better than any other group I've seen here yet. they're breaking down the barriers with their liquid gender and their LGBTQ plus, and like they're just like destroying these bondages we've placed on everybody to try to contain them. And they're doing it in a way that's just so transformative and loving and celebratory. Like, we can really look to the teenagers these days. They are really doing, the ones that I know are doing such a fantastic job. Our teen team is outstanding this year. They are outstanding. They're running TikTok and Twitter, and they're doing all the social media, and I'm just holding space for them, and like, that's what we do, right? Ameera, that's what we do for each other. We hold the space. If there is some kind of sacred space that needs to be held, we hold it, and that's how, like, when people go, wow, 365 days a year for 8 years, really? And I go, well, yeah, because it's just embodied as part of my matrix now, and that's what I emit, a frequency I chose to stand in, right? So what frequency are you choosing to stand in, all our people out here? And then what frequencies are you allowing your children to stand in?
Yeah, and I really try to look at, sometimes when really difficult things happen, when really devastating things happen, pandemics happen, I always try to look at, okay, what is life trying to teach us or show us or give us that the collective is calling in? And I'm looking at all these schools now that are potentially not going to reopen, or will reopen in some very strange ways.
Weird way.
And I'm looking at all these parents who really are craving for something different, a different way for their child to be educated. Maybe this is the big push for homeschool learning, community learning, advanced socio-emotional learning communities to come out together online and in purpose, and for the complete old structure, the paradigm of the education system to be allowed to fall down, so people like you can come in and help with the rebuilding. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I love all that. And I think you're totally on track. I'm seeing it like, there's two ways, right? You can burn a building down or take a building down, or you can lift it up, jack it up, fix the foundation. We have all these brick and mortar buildings. We have all these systems that are already in place. They just need to be tweaked so that they're actually working for the people, working for humanity. So I feel like everybody's got a part in this, and we all have the authority to do this. So the first thing I want to say is our connection to the earth is paramount to our success. When we are in alignment, and the grandfathers, I spent 2.5 hours on the phone with Grandfather Golden Eagle the other day, and he was very certain to make sure that I took away from our conversation that as long as we are taking care of the Mother Earth will take care of us. And we get like that protective field, like what I'm talking about. That protective field happens for people when they care for the earth, when they teach their children to care for the earth and the water, right? So, and yes, out of June, which is our peak month, we have a whole 365 day a year free thematic platform for people. 8 years of it: peace, water, earth, whole being, how to play as a team, self-love and cooperation, taking it to the street. How do we do that respectfully? What does love in action look like? What does it sound like? And what does it do? And now we're in the miracle. So we're in a miracle year, and look at what has happened so far. Are you kidding me? Like, you can't make this stuff up. Unbelievable. Wow. And so the biggest gift I can give anybody, do we have time to do a quick teaching, like a minute and a half?
Yeah, go for it. Absolutely.
Okay. So Dr. Emoto was a Japanese scientist who devoted his life to teaching that water has consciousness. And we broke through the commercial thing with Frozen saying that, right? It has memory. Water has memory. Hallelujah. Okay. Thank you, Disney. So now, in alignment with this, he gave Grandma Pat this to pass on to the children and youth. So she came home, she gave it directly to me. She said, here you go. This is from Dr. Emoto. So this is what we do. We're going to take a clearing breath in of love. So breathing in the love and breathing out the love. Okay. We're going to bring our left hand to our heart and our right hand to our heart. Okay. And now we are water. So you and I are going to do the water exchange to each other. typically we're going to do it to the ocean or a river or in the bathtub or to your glass of water or a puddle, whatever, wherever, but you're going to feel a different thing each time you do this with different bodies of water. Okay. So, all right. So we're connecting into the heart, and we are going to remember times in our lives that brought us so much joy and happiness. Anything at all. Hugs from your mom, grandparents, a beautiful swim with hopefully the dolphins, rainforest trips or mountains, or just that car ride. That was the best one ever. And I want you to breathe in that love, and that heart lights and glows and grows, and those feelings are so profound. And when you feel really, really full, we're going to put that love into our hand, and we're going to gift it to the water. And we're going to say, water, I love you.
Water, I love you.
Water, I thank you.
Water, I thank you.
And water, I respect you.
Water, I respect you.
And then you wait. And you will receive a tangible gift of energy into your hand. And when you feel it come in, you put your right hand over your heart and your left hand over your heart. And take a nice, big, receiving, beautiful breath. And so I absolutely support you in every way of doing that with the ocean. You have so many beautiful bodies of water where you live. You can do it all over the place. And each time.
And the water in our body. I mean, our bodies are 70% water. Think about if we practice that little simple, profound ritual every day on our own waters in our body.
Yes. And yes.
Taught our children every day, water. Yes.
Yes. Here's my book, guys. It just came out last week. I haven't even done a single advertisement about it. I haven't showed it on anyone else's show. Ameera, this is the first time.
Yay, I'm so honored.
So this is the philosophy and the work. This is the master's work. This is like Louise Hay and Wayne Dyer and the Dalai Lama and Rumi, and I think Jesus is even in here. There's a lot in there. There's a lot of masters that back me up. There's a lot of ancient wisdom. There's a lot of medicine wheel work. There's a lot of water work. And all of my social emotional learning activities and ways to get to them so that people can try them and teach them. And I made 4 other books. This one is the pre-K curriculum. And then there's a musical, which has all kinds of social emotional learning activities in the back. And it is so important to teach connection to the heart. I don't think there's anything more important right now. There's one other thing I made to just condense it for people. It's called the Self-Love 12 Steps. And it essentially compiles 25 years of my work into 12 steps so that you can just connect to your heart. You light that seed. It glows and grows with your breath of love. Sending awareness to our omnipresent source energy, bringing it down through the body into the earth. And then the earth fills that whole channel back up again. And we are in divine placement as beings between heaven and earth. As is within, so is without. As is above, so is below.
That is just brilliant and beautiful. We're going to exit in a minute or so to a little break. And when we come back, I would like you to talk to us a little bit more about International Children's Month, about the events that you'll be holding for children, how people can find you and how they can participate.
Yes, that's
See you back on Tales from the Merworld Radio in just a few minutes. Aloha, welcome back to Tales from the Merworld Radio. My name is Ameera Beth Healer, and if you are just tuning in, this is a program where we explore the ancient lands of Atlantis and Lemuria. And today I have the wonderful privilege of interviewing my dear friend Heidi Little of International Children's Month and beyond, so many things. Before we get back in with Heidi, um, the children of Atlantis and Lemuria, they're being reborn all around us. They've actually been coming in and incarnating in many, many waves for maybe this last 50, 60, 70 years, starting with some of what we call the early indigo children, and then the crystal children. And I'm not even sure what these new generations are called, what kind of, diamond, golden they're being given, but they are incarnating in all around us. And the children are really the reason that planet Earth is being allowed to change and ascend and to grow. It's the vibration and the frequency and the love quotient, the very pure, unkarmic love quotient that these children coming into our planet now are holding and raising up the vibration of all of us, around, everybody around us, that we have the ability now to really ascend into the new earth, into the golden earth. And if you need a little tool for your child, I have a really wonderful book on my website called Body of Stars. It is my gift to the children of this planet. I wrote it because I really didn't see many tools back out there for children, for caregivers and parents to teach their children about their body as energy and about their chakras. So I put together this lovely little chakra book that takes you from the Earth star all the way through to the crown star, with little meditations and affirmations, beautiful drawings, and even a little art project at the end. So if you're interested in Body of Stars for your child, a child you love, or your community, you can hit my website at ameerabeth.com and just go to my online shop and you will find Body of Stars. I will send you an autographed copy. And having said that, we are going to talk to Heidi. Heidi's been giving us so much wonderful information today about not only her background and what has inspired her to just like be a rally and a champion for the children of the new earth, but all the programs, all the cool stuff she's got in place to help the entire collective, anybody who wants to get involved in International Children's Month or get involved in being there, like to assist all these children. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit more about, tell us about International Children's Month. Tell us everything we need to know.
Okay, great. We're in our 8th year, and June is always our peak month, and our peak day is the 21st for the Children's Global Wave of Love. So it's 30 straight days, from petitions to parades of poetry and popcorn and lovely dances and music and whatever you can do to raise the love, care, and respect for the children in your life. Whatever you can do in love, care, and respect, embodying for the children in your community, in your hemisphere, in your world. We are being conscious that we are helping to balance out 200 years of atrocities against children, and that we are breaking down these stigmas that they have been labeled with and need to transcend. And so this year, really, that is the first year that really, really hit home for me for the last couple of weeks, just with the Black Lives Matter movement and the historical trauma and everything. I really got the whole thing. I knew it from the gate, but it really came home for me. Like, we are collectively transmuting into more love for them, more care, and more respect. So June in its entirety has a guide, and the guide is at internationalchildrensmonth.com/2020. It's the first year we've had some funding behind us, and our merchandise and t-shirts like what Ameera is wearing fund our platform. We've never asked for donations before this year. This is really it, the first year. We sell t-shirts to help build schools and recovery centers and grants for visionary youth. And let's see here. So there's all kinds of different things happening. Pretty much whatever you can do in love, care, and respect that you feel called to do, that you feel empowered to do. Maybe it's something you've already created. Maybe it's something you'd like to create. And then we're taking it out into the world, right? We're injecting it into the streams of consciousness through our social media. Letting them know it's International Children's Month will help us raise awareness And the mission is love, care, and respect of all the children on earth. And how can you not lock arms and hearts on something like that? Because it's all of us, right? I believe we are all children of this earth, no matter how old we are and no matter how young we are. And so it's a powerful, potent energy to be a part of. And it's transformative in a beautiful love in action way. We embody it, we bring it into our bodies, we be it, and we move out into the world with it. So, so on the guide, there's all kinds of different things. There's concerts, there's book readings. I'm going to invite Ameera to be a part of Global Unity Week. So this year we've locked forces with Global Unity Week. Our peak day is the 21st of every year in June. And it is at 1:11 p.m. in your heart and your time zone, wherever you are in the world, at 1:11, just come into yourself and cultivate love, care, and respect. And just really feel what that feels like to have love, care, and respect, and to be love, care, and respect. Does it have a color? Does it have a sound? Does it have a movement? What does it feel like to you? And then we're going to flow that out after we've cultivated some energy to the next time zone. And then breathe in the reciprocity of what we've just done, because that which we invest in is good and returns to itself plentyfold, plentyfold. So this is a continuously refilling and beautiful way of being. And like I said, we are 365 days a year. June just happens to be the month where we go to town on letting everybody know that this is what's going to transform everything. Because if we love, care, and respect ourselves and each other, we're going to make choices that are in harmony and balance with what's for the greater good for ourselves and each other. Right?
Exactly.
So that's that. And so June 21, we've locked arms with Global Unity Week and We the World. I work with We the World too. I'm the youth head for We the World for children and youth. And so the 21st, they're giving us the children and youth convergence room, they're calling it, stage convergence room. So we're going to put together a platform from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. on the 21st. And the main stage is observing the global wave at 1:11 each time zone throughout the day. And we are backed up by 4 days of solid prayer from World Peace and Prayer Day. And all the Indigenous relatives on Earth have come together. There are 18 out of 21 sacred sites being activated.
Amazing. That is amazing.
Unprecedented unity, Ameera. We haven't seen this kind of unity ever. This is solidly the best. I am just like, thank you. So many miracles. Yeah. So I'd love for you to come on there and read your book.
I would love that. That would be
you're just so
wonderful.
Beautiful. That would be great. I love that book. Ameera sent me a copy of that book, just so everybody knows. And I love it. I learned from it. My children love it too. And it's beautifully illustrated and it's just gorgeous.
It's amazing how many adults I have say, I need that book because I need to learn this stuff.
Yeah, no, it's good.
And then they get to be kids again.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, no, and it's really nice to light your stars. Like if a person hasn't sat and closed their eyes and lit their stars, I implore you to do it. And you can even add extra ones in. You know, on top of the ones that Ameera's covered, you can add extra stars in and you can advance yourself as much as you like in any color, in any shade, in any way, right? You can be as sparkly as you want. And you can keep your container to your sparkles nice and close to your skin, or you can expand it to the whole world. There are no boundaries other than what we put on ourselves. So our mission's love, care, and respect, and you can help us by just becoming an ambassador. You are all officially invited to be ambassadors of International Children's Month and to lock arms and hearts with us, not locking hearts, but flow with us in the heart space of love, care, and respect. And really like feel what that feels like for you and embody that practice, like, because it's yummy, it's alive, it keeps you vital. And it's healing everything. Look what happened with the children. We started in 2013 and all there was like peace poetry contests and maybe an art contest. There were no water protectors. There was nothing happening with the water when we started making 176,000 water medicine wheels with grandfather Golden Eagle in 2014. I don't know more just got kicked off. There was like all kinds of transformation can happen from intention, from
Yes.
pure love intention. So I hope I answered your question. We literally have a children and youth thing going on with Global Unity Week for 7 days. We're also going to do a Grandparents Wisdom Day on the 25th.
Yes.
So I think that that's important also.
You know,
So it's not going to be on the guide, right?
and thank you so much. I know you have children, you have a young
I do.
child.
I have an old child
I
too.
have a 7-year-old granddaughter.
Yeah.
And I really like when I think about the cultivation of her spirit and her innocence
Yeah.
and her purity.
Yeah.
Like this is what I want for her.
Right.
This is what I want for all children, for my grandchildren.
Yeah.
And if this incoming wave of change on the planet that just seems to be dismantling and bringing a sledgehammer in to everything we know, if you are the reconstruction crew,
yay, we.
if I can be the reconstruction crew
Yeah,
with
baby.
you,
Yeah, baby.
then it's really all going to be worth it.
It's going to be okay. It's going to be worth it. And I swear to God, if people love the planet and the earth and they love themselves, love protects itself. It has a power, that circulates around you and protects you and your family. Right. And when you teach your children how to do that, they're safe anywhere they go. They don't have to ever fall into fear because they know that the power of the light and the love is inside of them. Right. And if they know that, they're unstoppable.
Heidi, tell us where people can find you. What's your social media? What's your websites? All of it.
Okay. All right. So HeidiLittle.com is my home on the web. It's going to get a serious update and fix. Down at the bottom, all the pages are down there. Don't ask me why they're there. I'm learning WordPress. And I just joined forces with this wonderful woman named Alana Boyd, who has built the guide for International Children's Month. So that site is internationalchildrensmonth.com/2020. And we created banners for all the years previous, so people can just click the banner and go straight to that platform. And we're going to be restructuring everything out of June into internationalchildren.world. So we're really going to town on this global schooling, unschooling, whatever you want, progressive education, social emotional learning. And we're going to weave in as many teachers and educators as we possibly can. So you guys can get a hold of me. Just sign up to the email list on either of the sites. And we'll send out opportunities for people because it really looks like micro schools and schools that are online, but yet interactive and get people moving in their bodies are going to be super important. And I've already crafted that. And have so many others, and we're finding each other. And it's game on, let's do this thing, So HeidiLittle.com will get you to everything. And then the guide is at internationalchildrensmonth.com/2020. And there's email lists on both pages. So just hit the sign up thing and let us know. There's an ambassador link on the new guide too. So if you want to solidly be brand your stuff with International Children's Month, we're totally doing that with many, many groups right now. So, it's the power of one is one became two became many, and many became one.
So, so many superpowers in one woman.
Oh, just the light and the love flowing through. This is what that looks like.
Yes, it does. That you really are the embodiment of love in action. And I want to thank you for taking time out of all the wonderful things you do for the planet to talk to all of us today, to teach us and educate us of what is out there. I think there's a lot of people who are teachers, who want to teach, who want to get involved, but they
Yeah.
just don't know, where do I go? Where's my community? Where's my tribe for this?
Yeah, sure.
And so
Absolutely.
clearly, you and all those with you, there is a tribe that's already
Yeah.
formed on this earth, and we just need to keep, linking in those additional spheres,
Yeah,
into
yeah.
the
Like your big
grouping.
flower
And
of life. I
yeah,
know it.
yeah,
That's how we
just
restore the
growing
sacred
and
hoop.
growing and growing that love.
Let's restore the sacred hoop, Ameera. Thank
Let's
you for
do it,
helping. I consider you full on the team, my girl. So,
Thank
it's
you.
all good. No, thank you. And thank you for everything you're doing. And your show is, it's so inspiring to watch you be you and
Well,
to do
we
your thing.
all have different roles to play in this co-creation.
Yes, we
Some are
do.
doing this, and if we're all doing the same thing, the other stuff wouldn't happen. So every job is important. Every role, everybody who participates in some way is important, and we
Yeah.
take all these different pieces to this beautiful, amazing puzzle we're choreographing, we're co-creating, and we put them all together because many hands make the work easy, right? Make the
Yeah.
work light.
Many
So
hearts make light work.
yes,
It's
and
so true. That's my new
I
one. Over the hands, it's like many hearts make light work.
yes,
Yeah.
so I'm happy to do my part, and I'm very happy to provide a platform where people who have really important messages for the planet can come on and share and get a little bit of notice, and hopefully a whole bunch of support and participation. Um, Thank you from the
Bingo.
bottom of
You
my
got
heart
it.
for being my friend. And Kauai loves you. I learned of you. We became friends through our mutual friend Jolynn. So
Oh, yay. Yeah,
Jolynn,
yeah. Acupuncturist
put
extraordinaire.
us together. So
Yeah,
it's
sure.
just amazing how these little points of light all come back together, and we are always meant to align with those we are meant to align with. We get to trust that going forward out into the world. And before we sign off, thank you again, Heidi Little, for all your beautiful mana.
Mm.
And I will look forward to seeing the rest of you all on June 25th for the next Tales from the Mer World Radio. I am Ameera Beth Mer Healer, sending you oceans of aloha, and thank you for allowing me to express myself.